Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors. Mr. Strassel here. Today we're going to this will be somewhat of a complicated video. You might have to watch this a couple times. What we're going to do today is we're going to simplify rational expressions using multiple laws at one time. We did some of these last week, and the key here is that the exponents might be fractions, and that always rubs things a little bit uh, awkward when you have these fractions. It makes things a little bit difficult. So the other thing I want to say is that this particular video is going to help you with IXL M6, and it also will help you at the end of this video. We're going to do some examples for IXL N7. And the reason, so your photo math is not going to help you with this standard. I've checked that. It's not going to give you the answer that I want, nor is it going to give you the answer that IXL wants, your photo math. I think your photo math will be able to give you the answers to this, so you'll be able to jump through that. Hopefully you don't. Hopefully you actually try them because you're going to learn. But I am going to show some examples for N7, and most of the examples today in this video will be for M6. And I will tell you, and then Friday we're going to have this assignment. Friday we also have a Friday's assignment that will have problems from both of these guys. It'll be a Google form assignment where it won't be a Google form. It will be a PDF assignment where you will take a picture of your work and submit it. This assignment may or may not be a quiz. Read the agenda very carefully. The other thing is, when you turn this assignment in, the final answer, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to worry about. I am looking for the steps. The final answer, yeah, okay, it's kind of important, but for us, the steps are more important. The steps are what I am going to be looking for. The final answer, yes, but just a little bit. Okay, so let's jump into this. These particular examples, I have a few. Alrighty, so here we go. Example number 1. This is going to be an example for IXL M6, and here I have a rational expression with exponents, and the first thing I'm going to do with this right here is I'm going to use this law. If you multiply like bases, you add the exponent. So the first thing I realize, this is going to be m to the 1/3 plus 4/3 over m to the 7/3. What is 1/3 plus 4/3? This is going to be m to the 5/3 over m to the 7/3. What law am I going to use now? You betcha, I have it right here. I'm going to use this law, and that's going to say, hey, this is m to the 5/3 minus 7/3, which is equal to m to the negative 2/3. Now what am I going to use? I'm going to use this law right here, and I'm going to take those exponents and make it positive by writing it 1 over m to the 2/3. Alrighty, so that's example 1. Will help with M6. This is how I would like for you to write it, and your photo math is not going to write it like this, but IXL wants it like this. I want it like that. And then if this were an assignment problem or a quiz problem, I will want some steps. And I may write another Google form quiz with correct or incorrect steps. That was a tricky little quiz. All right. Example number 2. Example number 2. Here we go. Same type of problem. Let's jump through this. What you might do is pause the video, see if you can work out the problem, write down the correct steps, and see if you get the answer that I do. You need to take notes on this. And the objective of these videos is that you watch the videos and take notes. All right, so step 1, I'm going to use that property, like bases, multiply like bases, add the exponents. I still have this guy downstairs. He's going to stay there. What is 5/4 plus 1/4? That's going to be 6/4 over w to the 7/4. I'm going to use the property where I subtract exponents. That's the division property. Minus 7/4. I'm going to realize that 6/4 minus 7/4 is negative 1/4. And my final answer, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be 1 over w to the 1/4. Alrighty. Okay. Very good. 2 simple examples. Now we're going to do something a little bit more complicated. Here you go. No, not that complicated, but it doesn't appear to be that complicated. So true or false, and keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, you can always pause the video. You can always pause the video, gather your notes. That's what's nice about these video lessons. You can pause the video, and I've said that before in other videos. All right, well, true or false? X squared over x squared for all x values except for 0 is 1. And right now we're going to assume that x does not equal 0. In fact, in all of these examples, we're going to assume that x does not equal 0, because if x equals 0, then everything goes haywire. Okay? So that's going to be, oh, so this then, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. And what is that? Well, down the road, we're going to realize that this guy right here, 1/3, if I have something to the power of 1/3, that is the same, and we've talked about this a little bit with square roots. That's the same as the cube root of -1. These are the same. And we're not testing the standard, but for me to demonstrate that that guy is equal to -1, I have to understand what this means. What the cube root means is give me a number. Whoopsie, what the heck happened? Oh, I went to a different page. What this means right here is give me a number, let's say b, such that b times b times b is equal to -1. That's what it means to have a cube root. The cube root of a number, the cube root of -1 is equal to b, such that b times b times b is equal to -1. And this fact that there's 3 b's here, that lines up with that guy right there. So the cube root of -1 is going to be b, such that b times b times b is -1. Hey, what times what times what? Same number as -1. That's -1. So the cube root of -1 is equal to -1. That, you're going to use that a couple times in your IXL. And then you're going to get to a problem like this, and it's going to be confusing. I will tell you that these guys right here create a lot of problems. So there's a couple different ways to approach this problem. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take care of this guy and this guy inside the parentheses. So I'm going to just rewrite this as -27. And now I have t to the 1, which is 2/2, minus 1/2. And I'm taking care of this guy right here. But this is all to the 4/3 power. Don't forget. So this portion right here, that was dealing with this. T, which is 1, 2 over 2 minus 1/2. Okay, we know 2/2 minus 1/2 is 1/2. So this then becomes, in parentheses, ladies and gentlemen, t to the 1/2. And that's going to make this kind of easy. And so now I'm going to raise, now I have a power to a power. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 27 as a power of 3. This is going to be -3 cubed t to the 1/2. And I'm writing out all the steps. I'm being very slow, meticulous with this. Alrighty, so now what's the next step? And all I did from here to here was I took this 27 and wrote it as Wrote that 27 as 3 cubed. I still have my negative. It's going to present some problems, t to the 1/2. And now I'm going to take a power to a power. Extend the page a little bit. This is going to be negative 3, and then I have 3 times 4/3. 3 times 4/3. The 3's cancel. It's going to be to the 4th. And t, 1/2 times what is 1/2 times 4/3. Oh, one of these 2's cancels, 2/3. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there is an error here. There is an error here because we forgot to realize what was going on right here. What was going on right here was this is negative 1 times 3 cubed. This is negative 1 times 27. And we can write it as negative 1 times 27. Negative 1 times 3 cubes. So guess what? The negative 1 also has to be to the 4/3 power. That's tricky. A lot of people will get this wrong because they forget that negative 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix the problem. I'm going to clean it up. And that's negative 1 also to the 4/3 power. Now we have to realize what this is. We know what 3 to the 4th is. 3 to the 4th is 81. So now I have 81 t to the 2/3. Now I just need to figure out what in the world, what is this equal to right here? What is negative 1 to the 4/3 power? I know what I can do. True or false, that's going to be negative 1 to the 1/3 power raised to the 4th power, because 4 times 1/3 is 4/3. And we know from the previous slide, don't we know what negative 1 to the 1/3 power is? Yes, it's negative 1. So this inside here is negative 1. Therefore, this is negative 1 to the 4th power. And what's negative 1 to the 4th power? Boo! Positive 1. And so what do I have? I have 1 times 81, a positive 1. So this expression then becomes 81 t to the 2/3 power. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a tricky one. The negatives cause all kinds of grief. So be very careful with your negatives. Please be careful with your negatives. All right, so those are some examples for IXL M6. What we're going to do is some examples now for N7. And I think we've done some N7 problems a lot, and I'm going to start off with a pretty easy one. These are for IXL N7. Keep in mind you will have some N7 type problems on the assignment this Friday. X plus 4 over 2 is equal to 5 over x plus 1. Here I have a proportion. I have a ratio equal to a ratio. If you have a proportion, that's the only time in the history that you can solve this by cross multiplying. That's the only time. So let's cross multiply. So this is going to be x plus 4. I'm going to go x plus 4. Let me get that plus sign, make it better. X plus 4 quantity times x plus 1 is equal to 2 times 5 is 10. So now I have to multiply this rascal out. This is going to be x squared. X times 1 is x. 4 times x is 4x. Writing all the steps out because I'm a nice guy. With the 10. Now I have x squared plus 5x. Hey, what's 4? And I know I have a quadratic. How do you solve a quadratic? You set that bad boy equal to 0. I'm going to subtract 10 here. And what do I get? minus 6. And now, now guess what I have to do? I have to factor this rascal right here. I'm going to factor him. Two things and multiply together, negative 6 to add up to positive 5. You bet. X plus 6, x minus 1. 6 plus negative 1 is positive 5. 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. That equals 0. So what do I know? The solution then is x is equal to negative 6 or x is equal to 1. Keep in mind this is an IXL N7, and I hope that you are not using photomath, but if you do photomath, you're going to be able to come up with the answer really quick. But you know on the assignment, you'll have to do the translation. And the assignment might be a quiz. Who knows? Might be. Could be. And you're going to have to show on the assignment all of these steps. Alrighty, let's do one more. I have time for it. We're at 16 minutes. I have time for one more easy example, and let's do an easy example this time. Okay, so let's go. X plus 7 over 3 is equal to x minus 2 over, I don't know, 5. This is a proportion. It's a ratio equal to a ratio, the only time I can cross multiply. So let's get to cross multiplying. X plus 7 times 5 is equal to 3 times x minus 2. This is going to be 5x using the distributive property. 35 is equal to 3x minus 6. If I subtract 5x, this now is a very easy algebra problem. I have 2x, 5x minus 3x, and I have negative 6 minus 35 is negative 41. And if I subtract 35 on both sides, doing that, I have negative 41. And what in the heck is x? Then we know x is equal to negative 41 over 2. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you have two examples for N7. You have this example. This is IXL N7. Could be on the assignment. This is an IXL N7. This is a little bit tougher problem. You got to multiply the quadratic, and then you have to come up with factor another quadratic. Then we have some simplifying rational exponents using fractions and all the laws. Got this thing right here, negative 1 to the 4/3 is positive 1, and negative 1 to the 1/3 is, ooh. You might have to re-watch this, listen to the examples. And I have two really simple examples here for IXL M6, I believe, and then this other example. And all I can say, ladies and gentlemen, is good luck to you. Good luck this week, and we will talk soon.